Guys, this is going to be a great show with Jason Hairston and Brendan Burns of KUIU Ultralight Hunting, and we just got back from hunting in Montana on the CA Ranch, and we had a fantastic time, and this podcast episode is going to recap that. Before we get into that, I want to make sure you guys are aware that the title sponsor of this podcast, GoHunt.com Insider, is doing a free 30-day trial of the Western Hunting's best research tool. You've got the filtering 2.0, the draw odds, the complete coverage, every area, every season, all the different strategy articles with Go Hunt Insider. And they're doing a 30-day free trial, and you can check out the whole Insider program, which will also let you look at the strategy articles. You can see all the different monthly giveaways, and you can see how the Go Hunt Gear Shop works, and they have insider points just for signing up. Use the JScott promo code. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to gohunt.com/JScott. You're going to follow the prompts from there when you go to that page, and you're going to be able to take advantage of the 30-day free trial. This is not going to run much longer, so make sure to take advantage of that. I want to thank Go Hunt Insider for their title sponsorship from the beginning on this podcast. Also want to thank KUIU Ultralight Hunting. Want to thank phonescope.com. Cheston Davis. If you use the JScott16 promo code, you're going to get a 10% discount on all PhoneScope products. The Outdoorsman's in Arizona, Cody Nelson and his crew, the Optics Authority. Use the JScott promo code. You're going to get a 10% discount there. You can go to outdoorsmans.com or call them at 1-800-291-8065. Guys, I want to thank you for your support of this podcast. I appreciate seeing all of the positive comments on iTunes and the reviews. Also really appreciate and like getting emails from each and every one of you on your successes on your hunts, successes and your failures. Please continue to send photos to my email at jscottoutdoors@gmail.com or on Instagram. Just send me a direct message. My Instagram handle is at jscottoutdoors. Love interacting with you guys. Really appreciate your support. Let's get right to this episode with Jason and Brendan. Welcome to the J. Scott Outdoors podcast. We are in Montana at the CA Ranch. I'm here with Jason Hairston, the founder of KUIU, and his sidekick, Brendan Burns, the comical relief of the trip, the head guide and comical relief, I would say, Jason. It's never a dull moment with Burns around.
No, he's a fun guy to do a hunt with. I'll tell you. It's pure entertainment, never bad mood, always positive, and full of one-liners.
Well, if you're not having fun, why are you doing it?
Yeah. Amen.
I don't know that I've ever laughed so hard on a hunt following you two around and getting all the jawbone and back and forth. So we're here on the CA Ranch. Awesome place. Jason, I was here with you in 2014.
Yeah.
And just a beautiful ranch. Lots of elk, lots of bugling, lots of activity, and some good bulls. When we were here in 14, you shot like a 370-plus bull, and
I did, yeah.
You've had several great hunts since then on this place.
Yeah, the place is – it's hard to imagine until you come here and experience it. And the amount of elk density on the CA is – I don't know if it could be matched, really. I mean, there's – a lot of elk. It's a big fire came through here, I think, in 2000. Is that
2000,
right, Brendan? Yeah, and burned a big portion of this ranch, which I think has really helped the elk population because it was a really hot fire and took a lot of the, old growth forest down with it. And what's come back is just lots of elk habitat. And since then, I guess the elk population has really increased, and we're kind of, I think, at the heyday of the CA as far as the elk numbers and elk density. And then the hunting pressures for a 60,000 acre plus ranch, I think they harvest, if they shot every bull for every hunter, it would be 26 bulls a year. Yep. But we didn't, there's 2 elk that weren't killed on our hunt, and I think, so they'll end up killing 23 bulls off this ranch. And I mean, we saw bachelor groups of bulls that were in excess of that.
Yeah, I mean, the first day we glassed up there and saw, I think, 15 raghorns in one bunch. And then I think when we were cruising around, we saw, a group of 25?
25 raghorns together.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think, when you hunt a place like this, it could be, you can make it as challenging as you want. And we target the big, not just a herd bull, but the biggest of the biggest herd bulls we can find. And we probably saw 5, maybe 6 bulls that are in a unique caliber of elk on this ranch that are just superior of even typically just big herd bulls you'd be excited to hunt. And hunting those specific bulls and targeting those bulls with this many elk is as challenging of a hunt as you can probably have as far as elk hunting goes.
Yeah, you come here to hunt. I mean, this place is basically just elk being elk. I mean, it's low pressure, obviously, from the hunting pressure standpoint, but it's just cool to see elk being elk. But there's a ton of elk on here. I mean, I think up to 2,000, depending on the time of year. But, there's really a lot of regular, smaller type stuff, and then there's a small percentage of pretty big bulls. That it doesn't produce the biggest bulls. Like, there's no 400s here or anything. Like 370, 380 is kind of the top end. Basically, this is a general hunting unit, so they do get off. They wander off the place. They get killed. Like, something's trying to kill them all the time. So right. The big ones that live to super old they're still pretty educated, pretty special. They're not dumb. They know what they are. It's pretty cool to hunt the.
And then you've just got so many elk to get around to try to get in on these big ones, which makes it.
I think that's the hardest challenge of the whole thing is there's so many elk that, to try and make a move on some of these bigger bulls, you're weeding through so many satellite bulls and
cows.
Yeah, and
big
cows.
Herds of cows.
And I think there's like 2 strategies or 2 ways that you can hunt elk. You can either glass for them and then try and spot and stalk on a big bull and make a stalk, or you can be a caller and just try and weed through bulls.
Yep.
Obviously, when you have as many bulls, I mean, it's a great problem to have, but it's also a challenge. If you're trying to shoot a big one, you've only got 5 days. If you're calling elk, you can only call so many, and it becomes a numbers game.
Yep. Well, the other thing is there's so many elk here. There's so many cows. These big herd bulls have a tendency to stay with their cows no matter how great of a caller you are. And you saw it, Jay, where we could call in most of the satellite bulls out of a herd, but the big bull is just going to stay with those cows.
And I think that's a dilemma for any elk hunter is they have to decide whether they want a calling hunt where they're just going to call and have fun, or if they're going to try and target a bigger bull. A lot of times the best thing is not to call at all and stalk. And Brendan's got a little smirk on his face.
It's just funny thinking about these first world problems we got here.
Yeah, exactly. I know, right? Yeah. We didn't call the big bulls at all. I mean, we didn't even. I think we did one setup on a bull we thought was there. I think on the 3rd day we called in all his raghorns and he stayed with his cows.
Like 7 different bulls came in, I think. In one set. And I do have to say that I am impressed. Burns does own an elk call. I witnessed it myself. I actually have video of it. Whips out his elk call, throws out the prettiest bugle you've ever heard out there. So
I mean,
rumor is definitely true. Burns does own an elk call.
Yeah, I mean whether I
can blow it. Yeah,
whether I need to do it or not, I'll break one out once a year just to get the dust off the plastic.
Yeah. It was. I mean, that was hilarious when he did because the elk we were up on a kind of a ridge overlooking a basin. The elk were talking, and Brendan pulls out his bugle out of his backpack. It's one of those older Primos ones that collapses down, so it's super small. And bugles and
fires out this roaring, beautiful bugle,
and then dead silence.
Just shut the valley down. Well, they were running though. They were
coming in.
Oh, that's why it's quiet.
They were busy coming in.
No, it's hard. I mean, that's what I've always found with hunting great big bulls when you're targeting the absolute top end of the top end. And I don't care where you're hunting. I mean, the biggest bull you can find is going to generally be in control of the most amount of cows or the smartest one around, whether you're on a big private place, a limited draw, OTC, whatever you're doing. I mean, the biggest bull is going to be smarter than everybody else in general. And to hunt that bull specifically, which is what I enjoy doing, I've just never found calling effective. You just it's just
you're drawing attention to yourself, and
you're committed to, you're either gonna kill them or you're gonna spook them. And the second part of that equation I don't like at all when I'm hunting a big bull. I'd never want to. The first time an elk sees me, I want my arrow in his chest, or flung over his back or around. I want to have an opportunity to take him. I don't want him to know I'm in the area when I'm hunting.
Well, you just don't know how he's going to react to the call. And a lot of times, I'm sure you've experienced, Jay, where you sneak in your cow call. The cows don't want the competition. They'll pull those bulls away at times, too.
Yeah, for sure.
Or you get a cow that's 16 years old or 14 years old, and they know the game. They hear the cow call, and they're like,
Yeah.
It's got to be. Not buying it, right? Yeah. And now you lose that opportunity on an elk that didn't know you were there.
You can call a lot of young elk in. Most everyone can call a lot of young elk.
We probably passed 30 5 and 6 point bulls, I guess, in the last 5 days.
Yeah.
How many cows could we have shot?
Not a lot.
Not that many.
Yeah. Brendan, before this hunt, you shot another big bull with your bow. You have shot some phenomenal elk with your bow and arrow. Probably, one of the best collections of archery killed elk that I've ever seen. Tell me a little bit about that bull and that hunt. And I know you had watched him, and he was a little bit tricky to figure out.
Yeah, I killed a bull in eastern Montana. It's funny how much elk habitat is in this state, but it's about 400 miles from here, long ways. And I prefer hunting areas that have super low density of elk. Like the area I'm hunting doesn't have a lot of elk. I think probably where I'm hunting there's maybe 30 or 40 total in the area. But a friend of mine had seen him in July. It was a super hot summer. He was in a water hole in July. And then I found him September 1st. It was a big 6x8. I guess you'd call him he's basically a big straight 6 with a couple of shark teeth on him. And it was one of the first times I've hunted. I thought he was about 390. I sent some pictures to some buddies. We thought he was around 390. And I was kind of like him or nothing. And it's a tough thing to do because, I
got a couple other nice ones.
I passed some really nice bulls, and you're either, outhouse or penthouse. Yeah. With that kind of deal, you're either going to get them or you're not. But I found him on the 1st of September and basically hunted him for 11 days straight. And it was one of the first times I've hunted a bull that he was the biggest bull in the area, but he was non-dominant. There was a big 6x6 that I passed up. That's probably like 370. I passed him up 3 times. That was by far a little bigger in the body, but just bigger in the attitude. And the big bull that I ended up killing wanted nothing to do with him. So he was just kind of flirting around the edges, and he was, he'd peel a cow off here and there. I went 7 days without seeing him, and then finally on the 13th of September, I caught him just randomly walking up a draw, bugling. I'd been walking for a long time, just looking for, and this is a super low density elk area, and again, didn't call or anything, just managed to cut him off and shot him at 47 yards, and it was pretty cool, fun to get the one you're after, and just cool to hunt one specific bull and finally get him. It's just a beautiful, huge, long tine. He's got seven tines over 20 inches on his rack. He's at 384. Yeah, really narrow. Being narrow, and I thought, but
how many bulls have you killed? Record book bulls with your bow?
Over 260. I don't know, close to 20 over 260. But
how many 350 plus?
12.
12 bulls over 350.
Yeah.
With your biggest being how big?
425 gross, 410 net.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And you've got one other over 4?
I killed a bull in Wyoming that's over 400 with a rifle, and then I have a 396 straight 6 point, and then two others over 380. This one over 380, and a lot in that. Yeah,
well, that's awesome.
But just I love hunting those super low density areas. I love. Like this was really fun. It's not fun while you're doing it, but it's fun to look back on it. It's fun because of the challenge to hunt one bull in particular, and then to know that you got him figured out. Which this bull this year, honestly, I didn't really have him figured out. I just kept after him, and he finally made one mistake. So
speaking of one bull in particular, you guys found a bull here. We called the Trident Bull. Was nicknamed because of his cool character and the points off on, I believe it's
3 points off of his back end on his, I guess it'd be his right side.
Right side.
7x9.
Yeah. We thought 8x10, but we don't know if those other little ones are scoreable, but he's a big, giant, cool bull.
Really
tell
cool
me
bull.
a little bit about it.
Yeah, it had been a bull that they'd found previous week, and actually Will Waltrip, who was here hunting with us, they found him on the first day, and Will and Jack hunted him, I think, 3 days.
3 days.
Yeah, and then Will, unfortunately, a good friend of his, passed away, so he had to leave early, which opened the door for us to target him. And we hunted him the last 2 days of the hunt and found him in the afternoon of day 4 up in a basin, and we watched him. And he was in a spot where there was no way to get close because it was wide open. And we sat and watched him, waited for him to decide what he was going to do. And he ended up working. His cows ended up going down the bottom of the basin. Brent and I looped around, and we just got as close as we could and hung tight. And they were heading our way. We would have probably had a crack at them that night, but it just got dark on us. And then yesterday morning got up and got up on the high point with the three of us, with Jay and Brendan, and it was fogged in, but we could definitely tell his bugle. And
you picked him out right away.
Yeah.
I thought he was that bull to the right.
Yeah.
But then as soon as we got just a little break in the fog, we kind of eliminated.
Yeah.
And then we could see, just through a little bit of the fog, we could see those cows, and you kept looking over there, and you picked him out.
Yeah.
And he does have a distinguishing bugle once you really listen to it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just got a certain tone to it, real deep tone. That's
The non-typical flair to it.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing I thought was cool was Taylor, our guide here, your guide, kind of from the beginning, that was the bull we were looking for.
Yep.
And he kind of had slid over in some other country, and Jack and Will found him. What I thought was cool was the fact that, that was kind of the bull that we started out looking for. Yep. They found him, and being your buddy and what have you,
sure.
Let him hunt it, whatever.
He almost killed him on the first day.
Yeah, almost killed him. It's just neat that, you can hunt a place like this and have, friends and guys with you that, if they're on him, bull moves over, it's his bull, let him hunt it.
Yep.
And then it was nice for us to get an opportunity.
It was. I mean, we hadn't put eyes on him until the afternoon of the fourth day. And then, where we left him, we found him. We heard him bugle. He was there the next morning, and he was bedded with his cows. And Brent and I did a huge loop around on him to get the wind in our favor, and got to within a couple 100 yards. And then I split off and made a really cool stalk down. There wasn't a lot to work with as far as cover, and just used a slight bit of advantage of topography and looped down through this little draw, and just basically had to crawl down. And got in position, came up over a trail that they had used and dropped into where they bedded, and snuck he was bedded at 60, as close as cows were about 40, 45 yards, and we had the wind in my face and just sat tight, which is the exact situation you like to get yourself in with these big bulls like this, is get in bow range of his cows and sit tight. He'll eventually, if he's bedded, get up and loop around and check him. And I was just exactly how I wanted to have it set up at a distance that I was comfortable shooting, and thought we had him. I mean, really did. And the wind had been consistent all morning. And after sitting there for about an hour, you could feel the wind start to just calm down a little bit. And I started to get a little bit concerned. I think you did too, Brendan. You text Jay.
Text me.
And just when it happened, I said, man, I hope he checks up those cows because the wind's getting squirrely, and it wasn't a minute later.
Yeah, and all of a sudden they're up.
They just jumped up.
They jumped up, and he got out to about 70 yards, and I took a shot on him, but I couldn't. I got a quick range on him. Then he moved a little bit, and I just had to make a guesstimate to what the range was, and shot right under his chest. And then we looked for him the rest of the afternoon, and ended up picking him back up just before dark, and we just couldn't catch up to him. He was
80 yards in front of us.
Yeah, he was at 80 at one point, and he had some cows with him, and we just got as close as we could, but then he just was heading down, and we couldn't catch up to him, and watched him last night walk out of our lives.
Yeah. Neat bull. It just
great bull.
Cool to have an encounter with a bull like that and just see him. And,
incredible.
For me, when they have that non-typical character, they're just very, very unique, regardless of size. He was a big, giant bull, but just neat to see a configuration like that.
Yeah, you're never going to see another one like him, for sure.
Yeah.
And, to go on a hunt like this, I could have killed a bunch of different bulls and ended up, walking away without an elk. And, for me, I'm totally good with it.
Yeah.
And it's the game you play and the price you pay sometimes when you instead of just getting one, when you want to just get that one or another one of that caliber. And we targeted a couple other big bulls that we got in close and had some really, really good opportunities on.
Yeah.
I'm totally good with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I've had the chat with Dan Evans a lot about, when you start targeting the biggest bull around, it's not quite as fun. I mean, it's way more fun when you win, when you get them, but it's definitely, it raises the challenge from just getting one to getting a nice one, the first real nice one, to, man, I want one elk on the whole place. That's just raises the bar as far as,
you have to be totally fine with not getting one.
You have to be
and if you're going to
comfortable
go
eating your
home from this trip bummed, then you shouldn't play this game, because you're going to lose probably more than you're going to win. Although Brendan seems to always win, but he's perfected.
He's an exception to the rule.
He's perfected the art of hunting these big bulls. He's taught me the same when hunting with Brendan the last 3 years here. He's taught me how to do this.
Yeah.
It's not going to work out all the time. It does, especially on a 5-day window.
Yeah,
that's the hardest part here.
Yeah,
I think if you had 10 days here, you'd probably eventually get it all put together.
Yeah.
Maybe not on Trident, maybe on another bull that was a giant bull. We probably saw 5 or 6 that would meet that mark. But to pick that bull, in 5 days, it's hard. It's really, really hard. And
you got 10 hunts. Basically, it was 5 hunts for us because we never stopped walking for 5 days.
I know. And Brendan, I don't consider myself a slow walker, and it's everything I can do just to keep Brendan in sight. Like, I carry my 10 powers around my neck and the camera. I carry the 10 powers just to keep him in sight.
Yeah. Well, yesterday we did, because I carry that Garmin watch. I had it on yesterday. We did over 13 miles and just under 4,000 vertical feet.
Yeah.
And all of it was spent going working on elk. It was nonstop yesterday. The weather was perfect this week. We got a storm that came in, then cleared off, and it stayed cool with on-off weather. We had a storm on day 4, dropped a bunch of snow, so it was just the elk were really active. There was no slow period of the day.
Yeah, we hunted pretty much all day, and the bulls bugled all day. The intensity of the rut was fantastic.
Yeah, we nailed it.
Speaking of weather, let's talk a little bit about gear that you guys were wearing. And one of the things that I found is so important is that layering system. And lots of times we were chasing bulls and what have you. Then we were sitting and glassing and be able to take gear off, put gear back on. Talk a little bit about how the weather played and the gear you guys used.
Yeah, for me, having looked at the weather conditions before I came up here, I ended up hunting in a soft shell pant, which I normally don't. I really like the attack pant or the alpine pant for elk hunts. Usually
or the Tiburon this time of year when it's scorching.
Tiburon.
Yeah,
but I took the Chinook, which I haven't hunted much in other than when we tested it, and it was perfect for this hunt because it's a little lighter than the guide, lots of breathability, soft and quiet with the knee pads, and then I wore a prototype base layer, the 97 bottom, which will come out next year. For me, that's the perfect mix for this type of hunt in these types of conditions. That adds a little bit more warmth than like just a Peloton 130 next to your skin, but breathes really well. It kind of has a wider range of a temperature range that keeps you comfortable in versus just a knit base layer like the 130. And then for my upper body, I wore a Peloton long sleeve underneath or next to my skin, and then switched back and forth between 97 Peloton and the 200. When it got colder, second half of the hunt, I was in the 200 most of the time. And then I wore a Kenai vest that's a prototype that'll come out next year as well. And I just like hunting in a vest.
Yeah.
And it keeps that core temperature up, but lets your arms kind of cool, and I can climb and hike for a lot longer in a vest than I can like in the Kenai jacket. And that was kind of what I was in most of the time. When we were sitting in glassing, I'd either put the super down on, or if I had the Kenai with me, I'd put the Kenai jacket on. And then when it got really windy and cold, I'd throw my Chugach shell over the top. Yeah. And I had the Chugach bottoms for when we were in the bad weather, and I wore a pair of Yukon Gators the whole time.
Do you feel like that 97 is going to be a really good seller for you? I mean, it seeed like
it will be.
That's a perfect piece for a lot of different hunts and situations.
It just adds a wider range, and it only weighs 5 ounces. For me, I can wear it over the top of the Peloton, and it feels like it wears a lot warmer. As I don't know if you've worn that, Jay, but it wears a lot warmer than it should at 97 grams. But it breathes really well, so it just kind of keeps your temperature really well regulated in a bunch of different situations. I know you're a huge fan.
I love it, yeah, and I had a pair of prototype 97 zip-long underwear, which is if you're not wearing full zip-long underwear, you are missing out. Like, you're literally lacking something. It's like not having fletches on your arrows anymore. I mean, it's the strip down, and like yesterday, we were hiking, but then when we got close to that bull, it was like, hey, we're sitting for 4 hours, and it was windy. It was pretty cold,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be able to layer back up and get warm again to get comfortable. And again, that's where the whole system comes into play.
Yeah, not to have to sit down. Because you wouldn't sit down, take off your gaiters, take off your boots to put on your base layer bottom.
Even it's not that quiet to do that.
No.
Even especially if you got to do it when you're in close. And
yeah, our system you could just because of it's a full zip with the Velcro tabs, you don't have to do that. You just put them on, you pull your pants down, throw them on, and pull them right back up. I can't remember. When I was hunting before, is either you're hot or you're going to be cold.
Yeah,
because you're either wear your base layers or you weren't. And just solved a big problem for layering.
One thing I thought was pretty funny, I had been sitting and glassing, and I had my super down pants on underneath my rain gear.
Yeah.
And it was snowing and what have you, and you guys were, let's go, we're going to go take off. And I'm fiddling around, and Brendan's like pulling he's like, this is how you do it, and zip those super down pants off. I was like, oh, that's how you do it.
Yep.
I mean, those super down pants are pretty cool, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can throw those on under or outer. Depends on, obviously, if it's wet, you want to put them under. But they're, if it's instant warmth, especially if like we got to the top of that ridge, Trident came out, and it was like, put the brakes on everything. We're sitting here. It's snowing and blowing like crazy.
4 inches of snow on the ground.
Yeah, we're just you got to get warm, and we're just going to sit here and watch till he goes in a direction we're going to go. And yeah, the system and that was when I had the gear envy. You guys all were staring at me. I felt like what a hot chick must feel like in a bar. I had a Super Down Pro on.
Yeah, I look over and Burns is just sitting there like nothing. It's snowing sideways, and I look over and I go, "That's the Super Down Pro, isn't it?" He goes, "Yep."
That is an awesome.
He still hadn't let me try that sucker on yet.
Yeah, you got
that is a sweet jacket.
Yeah, you got to see a lot of protos this week that you're.
Yeah, I'm like, isn't that give me the wink? Yeah, that's a prototype.
Yeah, the Super Down Pro is an awesome piece. It takes our range of system to the next level for cold.
Yeah.
How much level of warmth do you think it adds compared to the Super Down Ultra as far as
a lot?
Yeah,
it's double the down, but then you got a heavier face fabric too, so that adds to the warmth because it's going to help block wind even more and hold your heat in.
Yeah.
So it's not twice the amount of down, but I would say it's more than twice as far as warmth. And the crazy thing about that jacket is, and we cut it so it's more of an outerwear type piece, more of a belay style as they call it in outdoor. It only weighs 17 ounces.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still crazy light, super packable, and it only weighs 17 ounces. So it's a piece that if you're hunting later season stuff, you absolutely should have that jacket.
And are you thinking it's going to be October, kind of mid-October?
Depending on where you hunt. Moose hunts up north, obviously.
No, I mean delivery date.
Oh, it's shipped. It comes in.
It's just coming soon.
I think it arrives at our warehouse mid-October.
Oh man,
maybe a little bit sooner than that.
That's going to be a piece that I get for sure because I mean, being a desert rat from Arizona, I mean, when this was a cold hunt for me compared to what I'm used to. I mean, you guys are just thinking it's nothing, but
no, I come from California. I'm with you, Jay.
I mean, Super Down Pro is going to be.
I came from out eastern Montana it was averaging 92 degrees.
Yeah.
To come here, even though it's still a shock. I mean, this fall it's been crazy hot, fires everywhere, and it went in 3 days. It went from we basically knocked 40 degrees off it. Yeah, it definitely gets
your attention.
Yeah, because what was it during the storm? I think the high was like mid-30s.
Yeah, mid-30s. We had
yesterday morning was really cold too.
Low 20s is a low.
Yeah, and it was moist.
Yeah,
so it just cut right through you.
Yeah. KUIU Mobile Showroom's been a huge success.
It has been.
And what kind of feedback are you getting from people and such with the showroom traveling around and having all of the pieces of gear that KUIU makes in every size, every color? They can touch it, feel it.
The response has been so. I mean, for me, it is one of the best things about what I get to do is to see customer response, whether it's the product, what we do as far as service, the new stuff we bring out, and this mobile showroom has been another one of those really, really rewarding things for me as a building this brand, to see the response and the appreciation of either existing customers or customers who have heard about KUIU, and that's been the fun part. I went up and worked a couple of the stops. How many people had heard about the brand but just don't like to shop online until they could touch it, feel it, try it on, and to watch them walk in, be able to show them KUIU, and within a matter of seconds or just a few minutes, they get it. Like, wow, this stuff is really different. It is so much better. The hand feel in your fabrics are different than what I'm used to from the other competing brands out there, because they are. And then, so that part of it's been amazing. And then existing customers, tents, sleeping bags, packs, the high dollar ticket stuff that they're just not comfortable ordering to check out, to let them come in and see how amazing our sleeping bags are with the Polish down, and how light and packable they are and how warm they are, or the tents and the design and how they're laid out. That part of it's been great too, just to allow everyone to see everything. And we see it, and you've seen it when we go to the trade shows, how packed our booth is for that same reason. Mm-hmm. The mobile showroom's been absolutely outstanding for us.
We've talked about it before on the podcast, but how important are your customers to you from a standpoint of, there's several levels. From a macro level, obviously it's your business. It's how you make a living, feed your family. But how important is your customer, and how... I think you've done a really good job of educating your customer and being transparent.
Yep. I guess the best example of what my customers mean to me is how I built this brand from day one, which was total transparency, deciding not to go with a retailer because of the lack of value they added for the customer, how much they marked the product up, how much they limited the customer on what I could make for them. And by building KUIU as a consumer direct business model, being, basically pulling the curtains back on not only what I make my stuff with, but also the deficiencies of retail, the secrets behind retail and how much they marked up, the secrets behind the products other brands were making, and truly making the fabrics and materials into something they really aren't through marketing. And then, because I could have built this brand a lot easier way by going to into traditional brick and mortar from the beginning and had probably faster success, but doing it this way is all about the customers. And my approach has always been one customer at a time, and let's make sure we wrap our arms around that customer, pull them in, and treat them like their family. And it's whether it's the employees that work at KUIU feel like it's a part of a family, our customers do as well, and you can see it. I mean, Brent and I get to travel a lot of places to go hunting, and we get to talk to customers and how appreciative they are. But also it's really neat to watch other customers spot other KUIU customers, and they're like part of a family. I mean, they walk over and introduce themselves, and, oh, yeah, you're with KUIU. Yeah, you found out about it too. Yeah. There's nothing better than that, Jay. And I push our team to make sure that a customer is never unsatisfied, whether it's a service issue, whether it's a product they don't feel like it met their standards of what they want, whether they're wrong or right, they're always right. And that's what we set up, and we continue it. As this brand has grown so fast, well beyond anything I had imagined, one of the key things I continue to talk to our team about is let's not forget what got us there. That's our customers, and all the small details that has built this brand. Servicing those customers can never be lost, no matter how much success we have, no matter how big we are, no matter how they're engaging with the brand, whether it's a mobile showroom, whether it's the new European office with the guys over there. It has to be KUIU, which is all about the customer. And
we've met some great, that's why Will's here. Will was a customer.
Yep.
He said, if you ever have a spot open, come on up.
Absolutely.
And he came this year.
We've become really, really good, close friends. My relationship with you, Jay.
Yeah.
Started as, you're interested in what we were doing.
Yep.
And, we've become really good friends with all of our customers. I'll do anything for a customer. I tell people, email me. If you want to go, whether it's our product or you need advice on where to go hunting, let us help you, because we want our customers to have a great experience in every aspect of their hunt, whether it's who to choose to go hunting with, what products to bring, what optics to use. We want to share everything we know with our customers.
Well, and I think that's what sets you guys apart. I've seen you in situations, airports, restaurants, what have you. You're very approachable. You talk to people. You really care, and you break it down to a personal level and take one person, one customer at a time.
Well, I think when you build a brand like this, there is nothing as rewarding as seeing somebody wearing your product.
Yeah.
And for me, if I'm traveling through an airport and I see somebody wearing a KUIU hat, I will go completely out of my way to go and thank them for their business.
Well, and it's got to be rewarding from a standpoint of sometimes you may see someone in a piece of gear and they don't realize how much time and effort you guys have thought about trying to make that the best, and then you see it on someone and you're like, you're
awesome.
Grateful.
I'm incredibly grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's probably the best way to state it, because without our customers and without them choosing KUIU and recommending KUIU, we don't exist. And I will personally go out of my way to thank every single person I see in KUIU when I see them, because I mean it's why I'm in the business.
It's fun this time of year. I mean, I got hundreds of emails just since sheep season started of guys, like, hey man, I got one, here's my hunt, here's how it went, like, it's just cool this time of year. Rams rolling in, they got the elk rolling in now, and the deer and stuff. It's just really cool to see guys giving you the feedback and just saying, hey, thanks, nothing, not huge, just thanks, dude, appreciate what you do, and here's some success I had, and all those guys are. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's how you're building your following too, Jay, which we've talked about a lot of business strategy on this trip, and it's the same thing. It's earning each customer and doing everything we can to keep them.
Provide value.
And because they matter. Every customer matters.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I know you got to get off to the airport, and we got to run. We had a fantastic hunt, and always a ball.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Hey,
Fun
Jay,
with
you guys.
It's always a pleasure to spend time with you, and to hunt with you is an absolute pleasure, and I always learn a lot spending time in the mountain with you.
Glad I got to show you some of my calling techniques and stuff. And
Yeah.
One of the highlights of the trip is I got introduced to Larry the Enticer.
I mean,
Jay
the guy's an
never
icon.
heard about Larry the Enticer. Yeah, that's right.
I couldn't believe you hadn't heard about
Your
him.
life will never be the same now, Jay.
I'm gonna have to go check him out on Instagram.
Yeah. He's iconic.
Yeah, so next, we're just counting. I got 40 days till I hunt Goliath,
Awesome.
my desert sheep tag in California, which will finish my slam.
Awesome.
I just counted up the days, so now I'm going to start marking them off.
That's cool. Well, I know
We'll have to do a podcast before we do that one and after, for sure.
That'd be awesome. Well, guys, thanks again. It was great getting to come up here and join you guys, and
Pleasure, Jay.
thank you for your transparency and all the great work you do for the KUIU Nation and your customers. And
Absolutely.
it's been fun to kind of know you from the beginning and watch this thing kind of move through and see where you're at now. And there's the thing that hasn't changed is the level of commitment to making the greatest products out there.
We're our own worst critics. We always want to find a way to make it better.
With Burns around, it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
He's
we're never satisfied.
He never sugarcoats.
I'm not gonna. I don't have a lot of gray area when it comes to stuff I like.
No.
So.
Well, thank you for your friendship.
Yeah, thanks a lot,
Thank you
man.
for all your support, Jay. And it's an honor to go on your podcast. And I can't tell you how many people we get to meet that become customers through your podcast. I really appreciate it. It's our best referral source, and you've done an amazing job about building a following.
Well,
you deserve it.
Thanks. Well, good luck the rest of this fall. And, for the listeners out there, these guys are going to be around show season, so make sure to come by the booth and make sure to come up and say hi to Brendan and Jason and,
Please do.
and their whole staff. And
If you're ever out in Dixon or Northern California, stop by the headquarters. We've got a great showroom, and we'd love to show you everything.
Anybody has any questions about gear, hunts, whatever, just send it into KUIU.com, and we'll get back to you. One of us will.
Yeah. Any advice
Unless
on
we're hunting.
anything to do with hunting?
We'll get back to you shortly.
yeah.
Yep.
Sounds
All right, Jay.
good, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
All right.
Yep. All right. Bye.